Kia ora, Markie here. Arrived a little bit early for an appointment and I've been itching to do a video, so I'm going to try and do a quick video now. Whether I'll cover the subject in the time I have available, I don't know. So this might be a part one of maybe like a two-parter, something like that. Although this is part of a kind of an informal series which started with what's the difference between a medium and a psychic, and then it went into channeling. And then I realised that also conspicuous by its absence was some talk about spiritual healing. So I want to talk about faith healing, spiritual healing and Reiki, and put them all into context and explain the differences, because again, this is a subject people get very confused about. So a good bit of traditional, good old-fashioned demystification in the morning, that's what we like. So let's get straight into it. So first of all, what's the difference between faith healing and spiritual healing? Okay, so faith healing takes place within a belief system, and the person receiving the healing is generally, none of these things are universal, but generally kind of there's an expectation that the person receiving the healing is embracing the belief system, and that the healing would only work if they are embracing the belief system. So so in the Christian context, the faith healing might require opening oneself to Jesus, or to the Holy Spirit in that context. Okay, so faith healing it's kind of an easy one in a way, because faith healing is, the clue's in the word. Kind of faith healing is associated with a faith. Now, how does the healing work? So yeah, essentially, so it's kind of calling down divinity, really. We did a video on charismatic Christianity and demystified that, because it's not what you think it is. So it's big in the field of charismatic Christianity, and charismatic Christianity often holds the kind of the belief that people have particular kind of spiritual gifts from the Holy Spirit. So for some it might be speaking in tongues, glossolalia, which we talk about in other videos, and for others it might be the gift of healing. And there are others as well, but that's kind of a common one. So that's faith healing. Okay, so spiritual healing. Now, spiritual healing, I think essentially there are kind of two kinds of spiritual healing, and you will see different words used, but often people will call either spiritual healing. So what we're usually talking about with spiritual healing is what would more accurately be called energy healing. So what it's working on is the theory that there's an energy field around people and within people. What's often referred to as chi, sometimes called prana. Again, I might do a video kind of talking a bit more about this in some depth. We're just going to keep this one kind of quite simple. So the healer, the spiritual healer, is a word that might be used, but an energy healer is somebody that would work with the energy within your body to heal you, using energy not from their own energy system, but channeled from universal energy. Okay, so with this, there's less of a denominational belief system associated with it, but there usually is a belief system in the existence of kind of universal energy. So a spiritual healer, and certainly an energy healer, could be an atheist, and believe that there is a kind of a universal oneness and a universal energy, or they could come from any kind of religious or spiritual background, but they're kind of tinkering around with your energy field, channeling or bringing through the universal energy. Okay, so somebody who's a spiritual healer who has a belief in God would call on God. Somebody who doesn't have a belief in God would just be kind of working in a kind of for them it would be a kind of a science, really. They'd have a scientific approach to it, that the universe consists of energy, everything is energy, and that we can manipulate energy, that we have the ability to do that. Okay, so that's how it works. So it's not necessarily about curing an illness. Often people associate kind of faith healing with, or spiritual healing with, curing an illness. And I think faith healing more often is about curing an illness. And also, there are in some belief systems, particularly Catholicism, there are holy sites where healing can take place. So just the very act of going to a particular site can open you up to healing from the divine. But that's kind of jumping back into faith healing. So spiritual healing then, so there can be two components to spiritual healing. One is energy healing, which is often just, like I say, it's just often people will just call it spiritual healing. Some people will call it energy healing. Some people will just say, yeah, it's spiritual healing. And some people will just say it's healing. So it's tinkering around with your energy system. So it's not necessarily going to cure your gammy leg, although it might do. The theory behind spiritual healing is that physical illness is often a later manifestation of something that's wrong with your energy system, and that therefore by kind of correcting your energy system, it enables the physical ailment to heal. But often people that go for spiritual healing just kind of find it's quite a kind of subtle. Often they can definitely feel something. Sometimes they feel heat, sometimes they feel tingling, they feel different sensations, but they kind of go away feeling better, having had their energy system kind of given a good old going over, and it's not necessarily to fix a physical ailment. It's to kind of just tune up the energy system, if you like. Like I said, we'll do another video on energy systems at some point. So what's the other kind of spiritual healing? So the other kind of spiritual healing is spiritual healing involving spirits. Okay, so this is heavily influenced by spiritualism. Now, spiritualism is a kind of, if you like, is a religion in itself, and there are spiritualist churches. But spiritualism has also kind of leaked, if you like, or no, that's not a very good word, is it leaked? As inspired and influenced the New Age movement. So the New Age movement, and I'll probably do a video on this as well, is kind of informed by lots of isms. So it's kind of informed by spiritualism. There's a lot of spiritualist influence on the New Age movement. The New Age movement, obviously, is a very loose collection of practices and beliefs, which are not kind of are diverse. So it's an umbrella kind of term. So there's no kind of doctrine or orthodoxy in New Age, although there are a lot of commonly held beliefs within New Age people. So this is something that so spiritual healing that involves spirits might be practiced by somebody that's a spiritualist, or might be practiced by somebody that's influenced by kind of general New Age beliefs. That's usually the case. Can be other things where they are calling on spirits to help and assist with the healing process. Now, usually that kind of healing is a combination of energy healing and calling in, something higher. So a lot of, just like a lot of mediums will say they have a spirit guide who helps them, bring through messages from people who've passed over onto the other side, as they call it. So spiritual healers, some spiritual healers will have the same philosophy, and they will say they have a guide that works with them, or certain non-physical beings, whether it be people who passed over or angelic beings, will assist in the healing process, will be kind of, if you like, invited in. And some particularly some of the old kind of school healers, they would often claim that the spirits of doctors and people who were healers during their life on Earth, in the afterlife, come and assist in spiritual healing. Okay. So they're the kind of the older schools of healing, really, if you like. So either as part of a religion, which is the faith healing, where the healee is it's kind of part of the deal, really, that the healee is embracing that belief system, and accepting a doctrine or a dogma, or making a spiritual connection with somebody like Jesus or the Holy Spirit. Spiritual healing, is usually a mixture of people working purely with energy, and people who work with energy and also invite kind of spirits in to help out. And there are other variations on this, and there's people that say they do spiritual surgery, and there are medical intuitives, stuff. So I'm not going to get into all that because that's too complicated for the time that we've got available. If you've got any questions, let me know. I might even do another video. I might answer your question in a video. How's that? So I want to quickly touch on Reiki, because Reiki is also about energy healing. But it's a very particular, specific, distinct approach and practice. Okay, so and Reiki's a funny old thing, really. I think, I mean, I trained as a Reiki master, and I'm still confused about it. So there's a lot of kind of unanswered questions and gaps, and you know, kind of question marks really in the history of Reiki. So Reiki is supposed to be a branch of healing that originated in Japan, from a martial arts. I think he was a martial arts practitioner. Among other things, called Dr. Yuzui. And in order to practice Reiki, you have to be initiated by somebody who is already a Reiki master. And there are different levels. So the theory behind Reiki, to put this really simply because I'm running out of time, is that the Reiki master will actually there'll be some teaching involved. So it's a form of healing that's usually hands on. What is that? I'm trying to think. Yeah, normally spiritual healing and faith healing is hands on. Reiki is hands off. So you're working on the. No, hang on. No. Oh, I'm getting confused now because I know there's some one lot calls the others feelers, not healers. So it's a long time since I've practiced this stuff. So yes, spiritual healing actually usually is hands off, Reiki's hands on. That's it. Sorry about that. It's a bit early in the morning. The Reiki healer will visualize certain symbols, mainly in the hands, to bring the healing energy through. And the Reiki master, as part of the initiation, will actually kind of tinker. It's very disrespectful language I'm using. Tinker with the energy system of the Reiki practitioner to enable the Reiki energy healing to come through. Okay, so Reiki is about energy healing, although some believe that there are Reiki guides, that there are people maybe that were Reiki practitioners who've died and passed over who help support Reiki. So the good thing about Reiki, I think, for me, is that the word is less threatening. People are more likely to accept Reiki and approve of Reiki, whereas kind of spiritual healing, the words will frighten the living daylights out of them, because it sounds more like Reiki sounds more like it's like some kind of massage practice or something like that. Oh, sorry, got somebody, a bit of a domestic thing going on in the background. So, blimey. So, I might have to reshoot this one. We'll post this and then we'll see how we go. So, yeah, generally energy healing, but there's believed to be a lineage to it. So it's passed down from Reiki master to practitioner, from Reiki master to Reiki master to Reiki master, all going back to this one particular practitioner from about 1900, with probably some legends that it goes back even further. I suspect it would claim a much earlier kind of origin and precedent. But Reiki is essentially, it's kind of a form of kind of energy healing, with a little bit more of a belief system attached to it, and a little bit more kind of technical in how it's passed on and how it's practiced. So the Reiki practitioner will visualize symbols, or mentally draw the symbols over their hands before they do the healing. I suspect in some ways that the other thing about Reiki as well is whether it's real or not, I don't know. I have a very open mind about it. I think whether it works, yes, I think it definitely brings something through. And I wonder if the visualization of the symbols is like a kind of, I feel like a hypnosis, just gets the healer in the right mind space to bring that energy through, because bringing energy through in healing is very much about getting in the right mind state. It's about energy follows thought is one of the phrases that's used. So it's about kind of visualizing the energy flowing through to make the energy flow through, thinking to make it happen. So it's based on thought processes and getting in the right mood state, and intention, very much about kind of intention. Lots more I could say about all of this stuff, but I hope this video gives you just a basic guide to the difference between faith healing, spiritual healing, which has two different kind of elements which are often combined, and Reiki. There are loads more other things out there that are very similar, which we can talk about, and we can talk about energy systems some more. So if you want to know any more about any of that stuff, just let me know in the comments section. I'll see if I can answer any of those questions or go into some more depth. Talking of healing, I'm at the hospital. I've got to go and see a dental surgeon about wisdom teeth. So I'm having my wisdom removed, what little bit there is. Rangi, where are you?